Hello, those of you joining us. We're going to wait a few moments to allow as many people into the room before it begins. So just hang tight and we will start our Q&A in just a few moments. All right, while those of you are joining us, we're going to go ahead and kick things off. I am Dominic Dowdy Windsor, the FPA coordinator, and it is my honor to present to you the cast and creative team of Seeing Other People. During the Q&A session, we do ask that you put all questions in the Q&A tab that you will find on the lower toolbar. Now it is my honor and pleasure to turn it over to Director Stephanie Tennell.
Good evening. I'm unmuted. Hooray. Thank you so much for being here this evening. Thank you, Dominic, for that wonderful documentary on our process for this exciting project. And we welcome you all to the world premiere of the Seeing Other People concept album. So we're so excited to share this work and its new music and our exciting work with you this evening and our process. And I think as many of you know and can imagine that current safety protocols, make it really challenging to create theater, to create music together and to create theater together, and especially to do that live. And so it means a lot to us to be able to be with you here this evening virtually. While we can't see you, we are definitely feeling your energy and are so happy to have you. But this has been such a really incredible process. We've had to overcome a lot of obstacles and challenges to be able to share our creative juices and our unique ideas and individual voices to put together this really exciting album. So as a reminder, we cannot see or hear you, but we know you're there, and we're so happy to share this with you. We welcome your questions, and as Dominic said, there's a little button on the bottom, a little feature that says Q&A, and if you click on that, you can type in your question and submit that, and we're going to be going through the questions as the evening goes along, and I'm going to call on you. If we choose your question to share with our creative team and our cast members, we'll call your name and invite you to ask the question. So what will happen is Dominic will temporarily unmute you and you can ask your question to the cast or creative team. So we're really excited to have a live interactive audience this evening. We welcome your questions and participation. If we call on you and you aren't ready and we don't hear anything, we'll just go ahead and ask your question for you. So thanks for being here with us on opening night, and we hope you enjoyed a little taste of music that we shared with you, and the whole album will be available for download after this evening. So I would love to invite our students to introduce themselves to you tonight. We're going to start with our cast A, and we're going to go in order of characters. We'll meet Ruth, Charlie, Tamara, Phoebe, and Demi from cast A, and then we'll meet the other cast, and I'll kick the evening off with a question for everyone. So we'll start with you, Reed. Can you introduce yourself?
Yes, hi everyone. Thank you so much for being here. Hello to my family tuning in. Hi, my name is Reed McLean and I am portraying Ruth in cast A.
Hello, my name is Matthew Palmer, and hello to all my family, which are across the country in different places. Really hope you enjoyed it all. I'm your cast A, Charlie. Really hope you enjoyed that.
Hi everyone, my name is London Kimball and I portray Tamara in cast A.
Hi, I'm Emma Glose and I portrayed Phoebe in cast A.
And I think we're short one Demi, so Anna, she will hopefully join us soon, and now we'll meet cast B.
Hi, I am Kaylee Schremeyer. I am playing Ruth in cast B. Hello, my name is Marco Orndine. I'm playing Charlie in Cast B, and I'm sending my love to my family in Texas.
Hi, I'm Abby Bottleson, and I portray Tamra in Caspi.
Hi, I'm Rose. I'm Riker, and I'm playing Phoebe in Caspi.
Hi everyone, I'm Karina Widman and I play Demi in Cast B.
Welcome, everyone. So this is our cast. This is our talented cast of singers, writers, contributors. And I'd like to also introduce John Garrett. He has been our rehearsal accompanist and music director for this process. So lucky to have him along. And last but not least, Colin Healy, who has penned this whole thing, our librettist and composer extraordinaire, who has taken this kind of fun and wild ride with us. Good to see you, Colin. And Pup, Colin and Pup. He's got his four-legged buddy with him tonight. So I'd like to kick the evening off with asking the students to share something about this process that they found surprising, that they didn't expect to learn or discover in the process of being involved so early in the creation of a new piece of musical theater. Because normally when we're seeing this, by the time we're seeing it, like you saw Maddie said in the documentary, other people have done it before, and it's kind of been through the ringer, and there are certain expectations. And a lot of our expectations were kind of open-ended. We didn't know what to expect sometimes as we were going along. So I welcome the cast to jump in and share something that they found really interesting or surprising or something they didn't expect during this process. Maddie.
So a lot of this musical was written in like a contemporary rock kind of feel, and that's not really a music that I've ever really sang for fun or anything. So it was really fun to learn that I could kind of sing this type of music and make it sound even somewhat good. And so it was really, really enjoyable experience to do that.
That's fantastic. And Rose, can you share something with us?
Part of this process is seeing the new music coming in, and I think it was really interesting to see like a song that would end up completely different by the time we're done. That was surprising to me to see oh, this song didn't even make it in, or this song is new, and just sort of being adaptable in that way was really, although it is an expectation of this style of process, it was a really fun experience.
Yeah, I should mention that there were a couple of great songs that we worked on along the way that once the plot line changed or the character's journey changed, they went by the wayside. And so there was actually quite a bit more music that we learned together that didn't end up making it onto this album. Reed.
Yes, I think that something that surprised me, for starters, we auditioned for the show back in September when things were very, very different semester, different everything. So I think just the entire process has been not full of surprises necessarily, but kind of, because we've just been learning as we go, which has been really exciting, but also just really great to be learning how to be adaptable and quick to change, and when music changes and ideas come and go and things like that. So yeah.
And Kaylee has something to share too.
Yeah, I was really surprised by how much I had a voice in making of the show. I didn't realize that I was going to be able to say oh no, I don't think that this would really work in the show. Colin was really able to work with all of us and really took in all of our inputs too.
Yeah, that was fun to see some of these little nuances being changed. And sometimes the students would take an idea to Colin and he'd say, yeah, let's try that. And sometimes it worked and sometimes it didn't. And so it was fun for them to kind of share their ideas and to see oh, I actually understand why that doesn't work in that way. Oh, Colin has raised his hands.
Actually, I wanted to jump in on that. It's one of the things I really wanted to address most tonight was of course you decide to do this now. Sorry, parenting. But that was one of my favorite parts of the process was bringing in because of COVID, this was sort of a ham-handed, a little bit half-baked idea of mine that like was foreshortened because of this whole experience. And I brought in a treatment that like it was very stream of consciousness and very much a first draft of half of a story. And it was really like through the students' input that it changed and became what it is now. And it definitely my favorite part of the process. So thanks for hitting on that, Kaylee.
And while I have you, Colin, and this actually might go for everyone, I have a question here from Anne Marie Rulin. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. And I will ask Dominic to bring you in, and you can ask. You have a couple of questions here, and I welcome you to choose any of these questions to ask our cast.
Well, I think let's start with all of the performers who are just wonderful. When I was a SLU theater student long ago, most of us could act and very few of us could sing. Almost none of us could dance. So do you consider yourselves singing actors? Actors who can sing? And can any of you dance? I was always the choreographer, so I'm interested.
Emma.
So I'm definitely like an actor who can sing, and then also I don't consider myself a dancer. I consider myself a mover. So I can move well, but not really dance that well.
And what about you, Marco?
Yeah, bouncing right off of that, I'm definitely an actor first and a singer second and a dancer absolutely third. Anyone who's ever seen me try to dance, it's not a pretty sight. That's not for me. That's not what I'm made for. So yeah, it's really funny that nobody could dance back then because I'd fit right in. So.
And how about Abby?
I consider myself a dancer first, and then I got into acting in high school, and then singing as well. But yeah, dancing is my passion.
And London's hand raise function is working, but she's ready to answer as well.
I consider myself a singer and actor kind of on the same level, and then I do dance as well, so my dance comes up second. SLU has a great new dance program that they started in the recent years, so I think that helps funnel a lot of the dance students into the arts system at SLU, and that really helps.
Thank you for plugging our new dance minor. It's so exciting. And Matt?
Yeah, so that's a super interesting question. I like that question. So for me, I'm personally a singer and then an actor after that. It's sometimes I'll try to act, and even just during this show, I would act some dialogue and just be told, hey, that was not very good. So it's a lot of a give and take. And as a matter of fact, I did the show Newsies a couple years ago, and I had to learn how to dance for that. It was super enjoyable. I did jazz, ballet, and tap dancing, super enjoyable stuff. So yeah.
Thanks, Maddie. And Karina?
I would definitely have to say I'm a dancer first. As much as I love singing and acting, it definitely for me, it goes like dancer and then like singing and acting are kind of in the same section. So.
Thanks, Karina. Maddie, I hope I didn't say that to you. That was bad. Colin's jumping in.
That's why I raised my hand. We did not say that to him. Maddie is from Southern California, and we had to get the Nebraska into him a little bit. That's the only thing we've said to him.
So speaking of characters, we have thank you so much, Anne-Marie, for sharing your questions with us. We have a question coming from Nicholas Soltis, and I'd like to welcome you to ask your question. He has a specific question for Reed.
Hey, Reed, I would just like to know how you get into the mindset to portray your character. Could you elaborate a little bit on that?
Yeah, thank you so much for asking. That's a great question. Well, I think it kind of ties into Anne-Marie's question as well, because I personally identify as an actor first and then a singer and a really strong mover, similar to Emma. But yeah, so I've just been performing since, I mean, my family can attest to this kind of since the beginning. So it's just, I don't know. I think it's just kind of innate to who I am of getting into character and things like that. But I definitely like to have my alone time prior to rehearsals probably like an hour before, just to get into the mindset of things. And there's really phenomenal practice rooms in Xavier Hall at SLU, and they did an exceptional job with COVID. We are able to actually sing without our masks on in there, with the HEPA filters, and you can be in there for 55 minutes, and it's just a lifesaver to be able to practice your craft without your face mask on. So I am in there every day, and if I'm not, it's a bad day if I'm not in the practice room. So but yeah, it's just kind of yeah, channeling all of that in. Thank you for asking that question.
Thank you so much, Nicholas. Yeah, I will say that this the challenge of maintaining safety during this process has been quite an obstacle that I feel really proud that we've overcome. We did all of our group rehearsing in masks. We only remained in one space for 30 minutes, and then we had to leave that space for the air to exchange enough times for it to be. So it was like hot potato organizing. Luckily, I love puzzles, so the schedule was constantly putting these puzzles together of where's it safe to go next. We had to plan it all out in advance. We had our sound designer, David LaRose, put together some speakers and a mixer and some microphones that Gus, our production manager, wheeled around from room to room so the students could sing into the mics to hear themselves. And then we did some studio work in our zero latency voice studios, so that just before going into the singing booth, the students would have the opportunity to sing without their masks on to prepare for singing unmasked for the recording. So a lot of preparation went into this to keep it safe, but it was challenging for the students because they had to learn this music by singing it muffled away through these masks, and we were able to, as you hear, come out with a really fantastic album. Here's a question for Colin. This comes from Ellie Hill and Bridget James. I'd like to welcome Ellie and Bridget to come on and ask the composer a question.
Hello. So Colin, we just were wondering for you, like, what inspired you to incorporate prosopagnosia into your concept? That's so interesting.
So this whole concept actually started as it sort of pinged off of an episode of Radiolab, the podcast, about a guy and who had prosopagnosia, and he didn't know it for a long time, and he was dating this girl, and their relationship sort of fell apart because of it, as he sort of coped with, he was like 19 or 20, so he was like a fresh minted adult, and came out into the real world and was trying to navigate this disorder, and of course, right then, they haven't been barking this whole time, I swear. But it was that episode of, I think it's called Falling, the episode of the Radiolab podcast that it goes through a bunch of different kinds of falling, so to speak. And this is one of those episodes, like falling in love with somebody who has this disorder, and how it can kind of socially, not socially distance in the way we know it now, but socially distance them from their partner. And I thought that was a really good metaphor for like identity and for having to cope with, with different aspects of your personality. How do you see your partner when you can't see their face? Like I think that's a really, and it's not like regular blindness where it's like other senses take over and it's like a different sort of coping mechanism. It's a, you can still see just fine. It's just, the way the neuropsychologist who came in and talked to us described it was like, can you recognize, like you can describe a tree, but can you recognize a tree? And it's like, no, you can't, you know what a tree looks like. And the way that sort of propagated was, I don't know if this isn't totally clear on the cast album, but the, all four women in the show play the same person. Eeyore, stop it, buddy. I'm so sorry about this. This is the Zoom culture, right? They all play the same person. So it's like this is the shades of Ruth's personality, and it's a story about Ruth through Charlie's point of view. Literally, like through his actual eyes and brain that has suffered a stroke. So I thought it was a really cool metaphor and an underrepresented thing to include on stage.
Thank you, Ellie and Bridget.
We're gonna do this.
We have another I'd like to welcome from Matt and Laura Glose. Hello, Gloses. Welcome.
Thank you. Our question is for the entire cast. How was the process different for you having the person who created the story in the room with you?
Good question. Good question. And here go the hands. Reed. Here comes Reed again. Yes, Reed.
Yes, this was actually something that Colin addressed to us, like at the very first day that we met him. He was like, you know, I understand you might be uncomfortable saying ideas are bad when I am in the room, but please tell me ideas are bad or ideas are good and stuff like that. But I struggled with that at first, like still did throughout the whole process, just because it's like, it's not, I don't know, it's nothing personal, like it is what you have to kind of get over. It's just for like the art itself, and that we're sharing this story and he's allowing us in on this piece, this important element of storytelling. So yeah, but for me personally, it was not easy.
What about London?
I thought it was interesting because being able to have Colin in the room, to me was very special. A lot of the times you don't get to do a show and have the person who is like, I want to make this a thing right there in front of you, playing out all of your notes for you to learn. And then you have to sing it and hopefully he's like, okay, that sounded good. Like you want him to be proud of what you do. But he's also there with you and he's like, I want you guys to be proud of what I do. And like, I want you to be able to say that you want to be a part of this process and you like where it's heading. So the fact that we all together worked as collaborators for this specific piece, it's very touching, especially in a time where the human race kind of lacks connection. This was one of my outlets of connection, and it's one of the only ones that I had other than students in my class for the past half a year. So it was very special, and I think that it was a benefit for all of us.
Thank you, London. And Karina.
You know, I thought it was really great because in the sense of like me as an actor being able to talk with the playwright about a character, it was great because we got to piggyback ideas off each other and just build a life for this character that has never been played before. And I think it was very unique and very special to be able to have that opportunity.
We made people, right? Marco?
Yeah, other than, you know, what everyone has already said, I think it was really interesting having, you know, Colin there as a resource for us. I think a lot of times when you're working with a script that, you know, somebody made 100 years ago, and characters that were made 100 years ago, you don't exactly always know where you're going. And you don't know what the intent behind this was. You don't know, like, behind this line, behind this song. You have to figure that out, right? That's why we're actors, because we love solving these puzzles, right? And we love building these characters. But it's a really nice and really, we were really fortunate to have Colin there as a resource for us, to like help us make these characters, and to help us, like, you know, bring these people to life. And of course, like all the discussions that we had together as a cast with Colin and with Professor Tennell and everyone, right? That really helped us a lot as well. So having Colin here is just like having even more and more resources to help us out.
Fantastic. And Colin would like to say something as well.
Yeah, sorry. I'm only answering this question. I know it wasn't directed at me, but because of who asked it. So I'm assuming that you're related to Emma Glose by your last name. And so I came into this process, and I come into every process as a writer. I am who I am. I am a straight white man with only, you know, the experiences that I've had in my life. And I don't think that precludes me from writing anything in particular, but it just means I got to do the work, right? You know, like I gotta go out and find out the real life experiences of other people, if I want to write people who aren't me. And Emma specifically, to Reed's point, that like I was very clear the first day, like, hey, like don't be scared to like say stuff to me, because typically I work with like kids, you know, or like professional actors who aren't really used to this setting, and it's only those two. Like I don't work with this age group very much. It's either like straight up adults who are just like, you know, I act and that's what I do, or kids who are just like, you know, I scare them because I'm the teacher. But Emma without missing a beat, was like, here's all the reasons that your thing's sexist, and here's all the reasons that you can make a better female character. And you know what? The show's a lot better for it. And you should be very proud of your daughter. Like, are those your parents, Emma? You should be very proud. That is the thing I will take with me for the rest of my life as an actor, or not as an actor, as a writer. And I've literally already told that story to several of my students. So, thanks, Emma. I mean that seriously.
Emma would like to say something.
Yeah, I'm in a lot of like upper level communication classes, and so like all my classes are just discussing and critiquing media, and so I just like wanted to bring that to the work we're doing here as well.
No, dude, like that was exactly what I was asking for. Like that level, I said this the first day. It's like you can have friends, and I think one of them is here tonight. Like that, I consider my editor friends. Like, and she's one of my best friends. And you know, like you have friends that you go to when you're having a bad day, and you need them to tell you that you're pretty, and you need them to tell you that you're you know, that everything's going to be okay. And those are not the friends you want as editors. It doesn't mean that you can't have, you know, you can't have editor friends. It just means you need to have people that tell you how it is. And Emma straight up told me how it was, like literally the first day I met her in real life. And like, I was like blown away by that. But in like the best possible way. It's definitely the right attitude for this process. So thanks, Emma. And thanks, what are your names? Matt and Laura, for raising a super cool lady. I'm done now.
Thank you, Colin. We have some more questions here. I would like to welcome Marianne. And Marianne Mulier, I'm going to have to ask you to pronounce your name for me when you come and join us, has a question about juniors and seniors who may be in our cast. So I'd like to welcome Marianne, if she's still here, to ask her question. And if I don't see her in a moment, I might just go ahead and ask it for her. Let's see if Dominic can find Marianne. Are you there? Here she comes. Hooray.
Sorry.
Oh, that's okay. Hi, Marianne. How are you this evening?
I'm good. I am, my last name is Muller-Liley, and
Muller-Liley, beautiful.
yeah,
Wow, I would have gotten that wrong.
SLU theater grad, and this is my 49th year as a professional actor. And
Wonderful.
I've had my name said 100 different ways, and I don't care how it's said, just call me. So my original question was, are any of you juniors and seniors? And then based on that answer, do you have any ideas or hopes and dreams for after your St. Louis U years? But I realize even a younger person might have that. I just didn't expect it. But juniors and seniors need to be thinking about it.
Emma again.
Hi, so I'm a senior here at SLU, and I'm a theater and communication major with a minor in film studies. And so after I graduate, I'm going to work at Opera Theater of St. Louis this summer as a dresser, and then hopefully move to either New York or LA and find a job in theater, directing, or video production stuff. So yeah, that's my plans.
Excellent.
And before we go on, I owe a huge apology because in my rush to get to the questions, I failed to acknowledge our incredible production manager, who happens to be a senior, Gus Kickham, and our assistant production manager, Maddie Wachowski, without whom the shenanigans and safety protocols and everything we did, it just would not have been possible. Really, they were just crucial to the success of this. So thank you so much. And I welcome Gus with a question or with an answer.
Oh, yeah. Hi, I'm Gus Kickham. I'm the production manager. Yeah, I'm a senior, and I just recently became a theater minor. I did 2 years of being a major and then switched it last minute. I'm applying for many different jobs around the St. Louis area. I'm a healthcare management major, so I've been applying to a lot of hospitals in the St. Louis area to do some kind of administrative role in any of those facilities. Thank you.
They will be very lucky to have you, Gus, if you're in charge of organizing things. Telling you, that's the hospital I want to go to. And then Reed is a junior with us.
Yes, I am a junior here at SLU, so I have a little bit of time. I'm still trusting in the universe for things. Not really sure as of right now, but my dream is I actually I started this organization here at SLU. It's a health and wellness initiative for fine and performing artists. It's called Make Dark Days Brighter, and it is my dream for that to be this international concept where we go into schools everywhere and advocate for health and wellness in the arts in communities. So however that can happen, I am still unsure, but we're figuring it out. And I'm just really thankful for the faculty here and for our professors and the students here. And it's a very supportive community, and everything's going to work out just fine. So yes.
Am I missing any juniors or seniors? Thank you so much, Marianne, for being here with us this evening and sharing your question. I was muted. Oh, I almost made it through the whole evening without doing that. Before I welcome our next question, I just want to say that one of the perks of this virtual situation is that we're able to share our performances and things with family and friends from across the country. And I welcome, we have two questions from Hillary Palmer. She's offering her congratulations and has a question about the album. Hi, Hillary.
Can you hear me? I was having trouble unmuting myself. I was wondering when the album comes out and we are able to listen to it from the beginning through the end, will we be able to follow the storyline of the musical as far as from beginning to end?
That's a good question. And I'm going to welcome Maddie to chat. And then Colin can talk a little bit about the difference between a cast recording and a concept album, which was something that was kind of new and interesting to us as well. But I'll let Maddie chat first.
Yeah, first and foremost, I just want to say hi, Mom. Hope you're doing good. I hear Piper the baby back there, so I hope she's all right. Yeah, this is going to be really fun. You're going to hear through it and you're going to ask me a bunch of questions, I'm sure. But luckily we, as a matter of fact, I was just in the recording booth just a little while ago. We were adding some stuff in to make it more available to understand, to really get, but this is a better question for Colin since he wrote it. So I'm going to throw it to him and just want to say hi.
All right, Colin, you're up.
Hi, Maddie's mom. So beginning to end, no. Like this is not a complete story by any means. Even in my computer, in my deep, dark final draft like things, it's not a complete story yet. So partially because of COVID, the foreshortened process kind of made us sort of rethink how we were gonna present a meaningful, not only meaningful story, but a meaningful experience for all the kids, students. The story is sort of, at least the first 8 songs, like up until Red Flag, is sort of the first, like, I'd say third of the story. You get Charlie's stroke, you get the prosopagnosia reveal. If you're real, maybe, keen and you like to kind of throw stuff together, you might be able to get that all 4 girls are the same person. But like beyond that, no, there's a somewhat of a plot there. And there's more coming, but if this album gains traction, once we put it out on streaming and whatnot, like, sure, like there might be a full on musical one day, who knows? But as of right now, it is a concept album, and that term, just to clarify, this is a pretty common thing right now among, especially like composers who are on TikTok and these sort of like very short, very like even shorter than the thing we came out with, like literally like 16 to 25 minutes sometimes of a few songs to introduce a style and literally just like the thesis statement of a musical. Like, this is a musical about prosopagnosia that is told through the lens of Charlie about Ruth. That is the entire thing we wanted to get through with the cast album. And beyond that, we'll see what happens. But enjoy the music and what little kind of, connecting tissue is there, I do hope you enjoy. And just because, I'm me, I hope your conceived notions after you listen to the album in full back to front, I hope they're wrong, because I want to surprise you later.
And while we have you, Colin, Morgan Clark has a question directed to you as well. Morgan?
This is my editor friend.
Oh, this is your editor friend. Okay, hello, Morgan. Here we go.
Hey, Colin. So for this concept album, what was the process like for you that was different from like Madam and Forgotonia, Gringo, especially with the style of music? Because I know you were really excited about that with this.
Yeah. So, well, time, one, there's two things. Time, so initially back, like Nancy Bell, the great Nancy Bell, who's here with us tonight, was interested in having me being the artist in residence this year. And this was back like, Morgan, you're one of my podcast few listeners. She was one of our first guests on the Grown Up Theater Kids podcast. And literally after that interview, this was like right at the beginning of COVID, we had this conversation about the artist in residency. And we thought COVID would be like over by then. So we were like, let's do a whole musical. Let's write a whole thing. And, over time it changed. And, by the time we had a solidified idea, it was like February, by like what we knew we were going to do. So this is the quality of product that we could deliver in this time. So like, it's a half-baked concept. Like it's a cool idea that has some connecting tissue, and some of it might survive to a full thing. Like, and I hope it does. God, guys. They only bark when I'm talking. The second thing is like the concept dictates form idea. So content dictates form is like an Oscar Hammerstein thing that Stephen Sondheim sort of like, it's one of his rules of writing, that like you base your music on the thing the show's about. So since I've been in St. Louis for the last 5 years, I've written 3 shows that have been produced here locally and have gained some, whatever traction. I think it's cool. Like, I'm really happy that people like them. But like Madam is a show that takes place in 1870 St. Louis. Forgotonia is a Midwestern folk musical that takes place in the 60s and 70s. And The Gringo, while it is a modern musical, takes place in Miami, which is like sort of where I grew up. And it's like, it has a very Latin influence. So it's like, these things are not me. These things are totally like anathema to my experience and whatnot. So it's music that I, had to basically learn how to write. Morgan knows I used to be in a band that toured back in the day. And I feel that this concept, because of how sort of open-ended and free it was, this is the first time since then, since like 2013, when I was like a 23-year-old kid, like that I've been able to like write just like how I want to write. And of course it's been influenced by musical theater since then. And you can definitely hear that on songs like All Good Artists and All Good Artists Reprise. But like songs like Red Flag and songs like The Hours and stuff, like I feel like that, those are, and Talk to Yourself, like those are songs that are like, that's just like my influence. So it's been a very like freeing and cool process to just be able to write how I want to write, which is nice.
Thanks, Morgan. And Gabby has a question that kind of, I think, piggybacks off of that, although you may have just answered it, but I'll let Gabby ask.
Hi. Yeah, you did kind of answer it a little bit, but I just want you guys to know I've loved the music that I've heard so far, and I'm celebrating this premiere with baking cookies. So I love it. But yeah, so I was wondering how you came to like the aesthetic and the feel of the show and the music, and whether that was like kind of pre-chosen and then kind of shifted after everyone started putting their ideas together. But you did kind of answer a little bit in your last answer, but yeah, that was my question.
Well, there is still a bit of content dictates form in the concept. It's not just like, I want to write a musical, so I'm going to write it like me. It has a lot to do with the kind of, it's a story at its heart. It's a story about like a couple's relationship falling apart. you know, as a result of this unfortunate event in Charlie's life. So I wanted the edginess of that to come through. I wanted the tension of that you know, experience to come through. Also, it takes place in a big city, and you know, they're in the high art world, and while it's like there are very like anti-capitalist vibes about the story, you know, you probably don't get that off the album, but like, you know, the Charlie and Ruth, Charlie especially, but then Ruth byproduct is like, you know, they're both codependent in a way on this faceless billionaire who funds Charlie's whole career. And like that sort of like fight the man sort of deal to the show drove me to just kind of go back to my roots as like, I love prog rock and I love punk, you know, so it's like I just kind of wanted to go back to those like those very hyper political types of music to sort of draw into some of this. And I didn't stay completely true to that, obviously, but like it's definitely where I started for sure.
Yeah, that's really awesome. Thank you.
No problem. Thank you for asking.
Thanks, Gabby. And we have a question for the cast that comes from Marcia Tennell. Welcome, Marcia. Relation. And Marcia, you can unmute and ask your question.
Well, this is Dana instead of Marcia.
Oh, hi, Dana. Hi, Dad.
But first off, I want to say incredible. What you ladies and gentlemen have done, you know, and have been directed and casted and everything else is just incredible. And I don't know if you guys realize what you've done being on the ground floor of something like this. And I'd like to hear maybe some of your thoughts as to, you know, what happens if this thing goes a little further, you know, but you were there on the ground floor, just like the ground floor of the people at Hamilton or Cats or whatever, you know, you were there and you're number one, you know, on that. And for that, I'm ever, you know, thankful, you know, that I was able to listen to all of this. Thank you so much.
Thanks. Emma.
I mean, it always is like really special, like working on something that's like brand new, because like you get to put yourself into it and like it becomes really personal for everyone involved, more than like a show that's already written and like been done a bunch. And so that's, yeah, it's been really special for us.
And Rose?
I'd say it's special because it's like I get to put a piece of me in that, and that I'll always count that with me. So I think that's really cool to have that influence on it, and just know that wherever this goes, like we're the first cast, and like our input will be a part of it. So that's really cool to me.
And Colin has a comment as well.
Sorry, just from a logistical standpoint on this, it's a two-sided thing, right? Like, no matter whether this is the positive side of it, like, you know, is like, no matter whether this is like the last thing the show ever does, or whether it becomes Hamilton, that's crazy. But like whatever. Or
Cats.
More likely Cats than Hamilton. Let's be real about it. This experience will always be like in the DNA of the show, which is really cool. The other side of it is like, who knows if I might not even be involved in it at that point. Like, I mean, it becomes so much more hands off as it goes higher and higher into the stratosphere. So the fact that we collectively, all of us, are like kind of on the front lines of this thing the first time, it's like CRISPR. It's like writing the DNA of a thing, of people that inhabit different bodies, which is nice. It's really cool. I love to see it. It's nice.
That's fantastic. Well, thank you so much, Dana, for your question.
Not a problem. I'm so blown away. Thank you again.
Thanks so much for coming tonight. Well, I just want to give a huge congratulations to our cast and creative team for opening night. And thank you all for coming and joining us, and for your thoughtful questions in our Q&A. We also had some compliments to the music director. So John, well done, who was an integral part of helping us learn this new music as we went along and coach it vocally and musically. We had a really good team. And as a reminder, you'll all be receiving an email with the download link so that you can click on and stream the entire album. We are downloading 2 complete albums this evening. So we have a double cast of the show. So you get to hear the same 9 songs from both casts, and they all have their unique flavors and tones and characterizations. It's really rare to be able to actually experience that. So that's a real gift. And thank you so much to Colin and to the cast. And again, thank you all for being here. And we hope you enjoy, and hopefully we'll see you soon at the theater. Good night. Thanks. Happy birthday, Abby.